Today, we're talking about some of the awesome things that went down at the Southeast Collision Conference this year. We're talking with several of the board members from CCA and WAMBA. They all helped put this whole thing together, which is the Southeast Collision Conference. And at the end of the day, really the heart is to help our industry, which makes me so proud, makes me so excited to be friends with these people and be part of this, even in a small little bit. If you didn't get to go, you're going to love the episode. And if you did go, you're going to love this episode too, because it's a great recap of some fantastic moments from the show. Check it out.
Welcome to Body Bangin', your podcast for all things body. Auto body, that is. And now, introducing Body Bangin's host, Mickey Woods of Mickey Woods Marketing. Mickey is a former auto collision center owner and is now a marketing and business development expert to shops across the globe.
Hello, and welcome back to the Body Bangin' podcast, where we are coming to you with speakers and all the fun things from the Southeast Collision Conference. It recently ended, and it was an amazing time. Before we actually get over to my fantastic guest today, we're going to thank our wonderful sponsor, Lombard Equipment. You've been listening to these episodes, you already know they serve Maine to Miami. But if you heard the interview that I just did with the Lombard Equipment team, they actually have an amazing piece of new equipment. They're offering huge specials and a special for the Body Bangin' listeners. So go back and listen to that episode if you didn't hear it and take advantage. And you don't have to be in the Maine to Miami corridor to take advantage of that. But in the meantime, if you're watching this on YouTube, make sure you hit that subscribe button, the notifications bell. And if you're liking these videos, make sure you hit that like button because it'll show it to more people in our industry and help get all this good information out to people. So without further ado, I am coming to you today with some of the board members and president of WAMBA and the Carolina Collision Association. Welcome, boys. I only have boys on today. Hello.
Hey,
Mickey.
Hey, so this is a group of individuals. We don't have them all on today because it's hard to get everybody with busy schedules. But some of our core people that helped make the Southeast Collision Conference happen. And I can only imagine how much work and effort goes into the planning and putting all of this on. I mean, when I get to come just as an attendee to events. And so I take for granted how much work and prep goes into all of this stuff. So kudos to you guys for putting on another amazing, amazing event. I've heard nothing but good things about it.
Thank you. Thanks, Mickey. Yeah, I think the most of us, we played a small part in it. I think the majority of the heavy lifting was done by Josh and Jordan, and then our show manager, Chris Cage, really did all the heavy lifting. We were fortunate enough, most of us, to kind of sit back and give our opinions, which I think is what a lot of us are good at. So it turned out.
Yeah, isn't that the truth? So Josh, being one of the people that really main organizers of this whole thing, when you were looking at it from last year, I'm sure you had ideas last year, and like Kyle was saying, a lot of different things that you wanted to do maybe this year over last year. Clearly last year was a hit because I hear there were a lot of people there. Can you talk about attendance real quick?
Yeah, no, this year was much larger than last year. And at the end of every event, I think every event planner, executive director, tries to wrap their head around how do we get this bigger? What kind of marketing can we improve on? Who can we get involved in the event? So there was a lot of work that went into this, and it paid off because we doubled the size of last year.
Wow.
We actually went double and a half over.
Oh my gosh.
Last year. So yeah, it was a huge success.
That's amazing. And I've been interviewing those that are listening to this episode now that have been listening know that every interview that I've done with the people that have spoken at Southeast Collision Conference, and we actually had an attendee on, we had Blake Farley come on and talk, which was always, he's always so fun. The speakers that you guys had were incredible, and all the topics. Kyle, do you want to talk a little bit about the speakers that you had this year?
Yeah, I think first and foremost, it's super important to understand that the majority of attendees, there's a wide range of education levels, right? And so
Right.
the hard thing for us is to try to put together a lineup that really tailors to everybody. But obviously, that's a goal for us, year after year, is that the content remains relevant, and then also, right, that people are able to come to our conference and feel like they're educated and empowered, and then also, hopefully take it back to their shop and inspire, not only their business but others around them. And so I feel like that happened again this year, and hopefully that's something that we continue to strive towards and to do year over year.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's very difficult, because being somebody who speaks at events, it's hard because you're like, I've got to speak to people that are just starting, maybe just yesterday opened the doors to a shop, to somebody that's been in business, like Brian and you guys at K&M Collision. They've been doing it for a really long time, and I've got to make it engaging for everybody. And so you guys chose some quality speakers. You did last year, the year before, this year again. And when it comes to people attending events, John, because you had 2.5 times as many people attending, do you feel like the mix of that was the same, different? The types of people coming, maybe were they coming from farther? More people knew about it? What do you think was the big change there?
I think there was a bigger variety of people. There was office staff people, there were technicians, there were painters. And I think that really helped draw our attendance up, is because shops brought groups of people. They didn't just go and attend a class or walk through and then, I'll take this back to my people. They brought their people.
Wow.
And
Yeah.
I think this type of show really caters to that. Not everybody can go to SEMA, And I think we worked very, very hard to bring that same quality, and I think we succeeded very well. I stuck my head in every class. They were packed. Everybody was engaged. The floor, even when there were classes going on, had people on it. And I don't think we talk about our vendors enough, but I've been to some of these shows, and they kind of put placeholder people at the table and, here, take a brochure. This year, it seemed like everybody was engaged. They would come around and talk to you. I took different customers to a variety of different booths, and it wasn't here, take these 2 samples. It's, hey, what's going on with your business? How can we help you? And I think that really helped increase the quality of the show.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, nobody likes a salesman that's just trying to be like, the Vegas Strip. Here, take it. They do with the cards. I don't know if that's appropriate, but it's my show, so I get to say what I want.
It's Mickey's show. We can say anything we want, right?
Yeah. So, Brian, I know there were a lot of students that also participated. Well, technicians and students. Can you get into that a little bit? Because I thought that was something really cool that you guys did.
Yeah. Being the past president from a long time ago, we're, I think 8 years in this April for CCA, and, building the foundation and having some smaller conferences and building up to this, and combining with WAMBA has just been, a great opportunity for us, and to really build our resources. And I think, what our goal was in the beginning, similar to some of the other associations, is to really, give back to the industry and make it better, and, fill the gap with things that we're maybe not doing good, like maybe estimating, and then obviously clearly getting new technicians into the industry. I think we're all in need of that. So I guess one of the things that I loved was seeing a lot of the shops bring in their technicians. I had a couple of my office staff girls that, obviously we need more women in the industry. We're starving for that. And my girls came the whole time, drove back and forth, and, something they wanted to do. They could have stayed if they wanted, but I think that was great and seeing that. And then, the resources that we're building to give back in the tool grant. And I thought that part of the event went really good. We, gave, $2,000 tool grants to, I think, 8 total, 4 in North Carolina, 4 in South Carolina, $2,000 each.
Wow.
I think that was amazing. And most of the people that won the awards, a lion's share of them were there. So we got to thank them, give them a check. Their parents were there. I met a lady that the grandmother was there. She was in her 80s, and I gave her a big hug, and she was just grateful that her son got picked, or her grandson got picked, and so that I think that enthusiasm that's created with the technicians and us, what does this industry need? And as combining our resources between WAMBA and CCA, and really being able to build those resources to give back. And, obviously, without the support of the vendors, like John said, I agree 100%. They have been unconditionally giving to us. And now, with the resources we're being able to generate from events like this, then it's our responsibility now moving forward to be fiduciarily responsible to the industry, right? So now, what do we do to give back? And I think the amount of technicians that were there at this event was, I think, a big part of why our numbers were way up. So I talked to a lot of groups of younger people and saying, hey, thanks for being here. You guys are the future. And, the responsibility of giving that back. So that to me was probably my favorite part of it, is spending the time with the younger people and then being able to see, okay, we've really made a difference. Like the speakers like I was talking about earlier, we've got veterans, but then also there's other newer people that, we're counting on to kind of keep things fresh. So, that I guess that's my take on what I thought was the most important part. And then, to me, or what I liked. And then, I think how the technicians, and who, so.
Yeah, great point. Well, and for those of you guys that are watching and listening, maybe you don't know the group that we have on today. I take for granted that I know people sometimes. I'm like the worst at introducing people. I'm really trying to work on it. And you would think as a podcast host, I would be good. So for those of you that don't know, Brian and Kyle both work in shops, they're shop owners. Brian has Bodyworks Plus. Kyle is with K&M Collision. John works with BASF, has been in the industry a super long time. Josh has been in the industry also a very long time, plans all the events and whatnot for CCA. And Josh, you do a host of other things. I don't even know all the things that you do, to be honest. That'd probably be its own episode, the Josh episode. But what's cool about it is you guys all we're all in the industry, but everybody looks at it through their own set of lenses, their own perspective on what they're taking away and what they're bringing back. And everybody's trying to better the industry and better themselves, which I love that everybody can come and collaborate together. So I think that's why like an event like this is so rich, especially when you're combining 2 different associations. I mean, the collaboration that you guys have to put this whole thing on together is really impressive. It's hard to do an event, especially when you got a lot of type A personalities. I'm sure Josh can attest. Everybody's got their opinion.
I think it's great that we had Chris Cage in the middle this year.
That's true.
Tempered Jordan and John, really allowed Josh and Jordan to do what they do. And that's get out and talk with the people and stuff like that. And Chris really held on to the nuts and bolts that Josh and Jordan were trying to juggle last year.
Yes, right.
And I think that made a big difference in the show because they were both very visible to everyone in it.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, I would second that. John, I think Jordan and Josh, both being executive directors of different associations, there are challenges. You want things to be a way that you think is right, but then combining those resources together and getting along. And I think this year that it was just like an orchestra playing and to the right tunes. And I think that backbone of helping and being able to do that, I think everybody pitching in, really helps a lot. But yeah, I thought the collaboration and how we work together was really good. And I think as time goes, we're just going to keep getting better at that. And, the shops and the technicians and the vendors. I think everybody's going to benefit, with that, the better we get.
Josh, you have anything to say to that? You just taking it all in?
Yeah, no, I let these guys get the limelight during these types of things.
Josh, you deserve it.
Well, Chris Cage, who obviously works with Jordan or for Jordan, she was a lifesaver, handling all the backdoor stuff, so that Jordan and myself could talk to people a little bit more and enjoy the show. It's a lot of hard work. There can be a lot of stress involved. Both Jordan and I do have type A personalities. And so being able to bring a different dynamic to the show, Jordan's very professional and I can be a very good talker, right? And you put those together and it equals great results. And I think the show kind of speaks for itself is with the great results. And I'm looking forward to the years to come. But being able to start off the show with our kickoff dinner and our award show to be able to celebrate some of our men and women of the industry, that's something that I think we really look forward to. We were able to give away a recycled rides vehicle to a person in need from a military family. She was widowed. Her and her daughter received a vehicle. So that was really awesome.
Wow.
I love adding that dynamic to what we do.
Yeah.
One of our members for CCA was able to put the vehicle together, and he's with Pro Color Collision up in Greensboro, North Carolina. So him and his team did an outstanding job. And then we give out a North Carolina and South Carolina Shop of the Year award every year. And so this year, Matt Poirier with Hall's Auto Body won for North Carolina, and Shane Isbell with Prestige Collision down in South Carolina won. And then, of course, we give out our board member of the year to Avery Kennedy from Blue Ridge Color Company, because he did an outstanding job this past year of stepping up and going above and beyond. And then, of course, Wamba gave out a couple awards as well. John, would you like to touch on that?
DMV Auto Body was the shop of the year. And they're up in Northern Virginia.
Okay.
And Phil Rice, who was a board member last year and who is now the president. No, he's not. He's the secretary. And Chris Burton's the president. Phil now was the board member of the year.
Nice. Good old Phil. Good job.
Yeah. And I just got a text back from him, and he's on a long distance bike ride in Montana.
Yeah.
And he sent me a picture of him in a bike shop because he's getting some adjustments on his bike. But other than that, he would be here to,
We'll forgive him. He's
actually,
my memory.
He's riding from Canada all the way to Mexico.
Yeah.
Is he?
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah. I will tell you, Phil's a positive guy, and just him being around that show and, giving back to the community and the things that he does, he's a great influence. And obviously he was on the board of, we have a board for the committee to put together this whole deal. And he was a big part of helping us get all that done. And, there's a lot of decisions to be made, but he was a big part of that too. So yeah, Phil did a great job too.
Awesome. It's so good to highlight people. Not that other people don't deserve it, but I think it's really powerful to recognize people for their hard work and everything they're putting into it. It's good not just for the person that receives it, for other people around to also support. It makes you feel good to recognize them, recognize these shops and these people. So I love that. So this is a shorter episode today, but all of what you guys are talking about has so much value. And I know there are some people out there listening thinking, man, I wish my association could do something like this. So they're taking notes thinking, okay, I'd love to get to the point that you guys are at right now. And you're just going up, up, up. Each year gets better and better and better. So it's super exciting for all of you involved. Brian had shared what his favorite thing was about the show, bringing in the technicians, offering the scholarships, all of that kind of stuff, which I agree is awesome. What a great draw for people to come into the industry. We're having a tough time. So again, to recognize those people and to bring the younger people in to see what we're all about. It's not just in a dirty old shop. Like there's some cool stuff that we do here. I love it. John, do you want to share what your favorite takeaway was from the shop? I'm not from the shop, from the show.
It was all of it. Starting with the layout of it, there was a lot of room in the aisleways where people could stand and talk. I was at the Northeast show in March, and if you wanted to stand and talk to somebody, you had to find a corner somewhere because people would bump into you and knock you around. And I talk a lot when I'm around people. And so that's some of the best conversations. I had some of the best conversations standing outside of the classrooms or in the aisleways talking about different stuff. And I think having this open like that really encouraged those conversations. And I think that's a great, valuable part of these events is for people to get together, network, learn from each other, as much as they can. And like Brian kind of said it earlier, it wasn't like a big selling event for the vendors. I think every vendor was there to educate somebody on something, whether it was a piece of equipment they had that they think, that they could have sold you, but they really talked about values and benefits. That's kind of what I like about the people that we're bringing together for these events.
Yeah.
They're there for the industry, not for themselves.
Yeah.
And you just talked about, recognizing people and those people that worked hard, behind the scenes and some in front of the scenes, they're all people that would never try to reach out and get that recognition. They're all just here for the industry. And I think we're growing a great group of young people. We did it. We brought younger people in for educators, at these sessions. So I think it allowed people to see it from peers telling them that, hey, you could do this. It wasn't old guys that have done it like me, it was people that are actually doing it now. And I think that brought a lot of value. And like always, I don't know if I really answered your question, but I talked a lot.
No, you did. John, you did.
It was good. Yeah, it was really good. A+. We're going to recognize you right now. Great job, John. It was excellent. Kyle, what was your favorite takeaway?
Yeah, well, I think the common theme that we probably hit on the whole time is probably my favorite thing. But I've never met anyone who's made it where they are by themselves. And I think the common theme from really before our kickoff dinner started with giving a vehicle to someone deserving and spending time at our dinner with people, networking with people, and then obviously you fast forward to. I think there was 8 kids that were probably, I think they were all in their teens, maybe 18, 19 years old, being able to give back to them. And so I think that's probably, honestly, and I may sound like a broken record with this, but that's really my favorite thing about our event and about what we do and about what's just extremely unique with our industry that I think a lot of people may take for granted is that this is an industry who really cares about not only themselves, but each other.
Yeah.
It's just so evident and John hit on it too, but, with our vendors, with our attendees, with our speakers, like there's just so many people in our industry that literally would give you the shirt off their back if that meant helping you. And it's just so rare and so unique to see in this world today. And so it's just awesome to be a part of it and to kind of, step back and reflect and just to see that. And I think, at the end of the day, I tell everybody, my personal thought on our show is if people walk away and they have a life-altering or life-changing experience or something that gives them a little bit of hope or a little bit of empowerment to go back and change things for the better in their business, then like we've succeeded, right? And that's that idea with this is we've been given a lot, obviously, but we've got so much to give, and so that's really probably my favorite thing about. And it's not just everybody on this call. I mean, there's so many people behind the scenes that everybody knows it, right? But that's just, I think that's really the best thing about not only our event, but our industry right now is there's just so many people that are willing to help and aid and step alongside. And so super, obviously honored and humbled to be a part of it. But obviously, the goal is to continue doing that, year over year. And, I think the growth, all that's going to happen. People are attracted and excited to be a part of something like that. And so I think that's going to continue to take care of itself.
Absolutely. Really good point. Well said. Well, Josh, we're going to end it with you, my friend. What was your... And I feel bad we don't have Jordan on because I feel like Jordan also deserves recognition. Josh and Jordan did such an incredible job really wrangling this thing and putting their arms around it completely. There's so many pieces to all of it, and you guys just did such a good job. So I wish she could come on also. But Josh, congratulations to another excellent Southeast Collision Conference. You did an amazing job again. Even though you kind of were one of the main people, you were also an attendee of sorts because you did get to sit back and watch some of it in the brief moments that you were able to take a breath. So what do you feel like was your favorite takeaway looking at all of it, or maybe a class that you were able to listen in on or something like that?
Well, as an executive director, the proof is in the results, right? We're judged off of results. And this year's Southeast Collision Conference, the results were extremely positive. I don't think there's anybody who would have anything bad to say about it. We had a great venue. We were in a pretty great location. We had great speakers. We had great vendors. All in all, all of the event was great. So I don't really have a favorite. I know that probably sounds like a cop-out, but the whole event was my favorite. I mean, I like giving away the raffles because for some reason it's like Christmas time and everyone's faces light up and they get all excited and everybody wants to win and they all start talking smack to each other and one person wins 20 times and everybody thinks it's a fix.
Yeah.
That kind of is my icing on the cake with regards to the conference because it's so much fun.
Yeah.
But there were so many other things. I mean, Aaron Schulenberg, he talked about the blend study and we had him kind of in center stage of the vendor floor. I mean, that was great. Really seeing the vendors step up this year with their designs and the way their booth layouts was really cool. Watch them get really excited if they sold something. I won't name the vendor that got a sale towards the end of it, but the whole team was super ecstatic, jumping around. And, and then the classes, seeing how full they were for most of them and the engagement. And seeing people standing at the back of the room and they were all engaged and having a good time. Even the check-in process was really smooth.
Nice.
Chris Cage, like we talked about, did an excellent job, her and Lizzie, of running that check-in station. And we didn't have any line buildups. And I can go on, right? The dinner was awesome. And, and everybody seemed to have a really good time. So the show, all in all, to me, was a huge success. It was a lot of fun. I got to kind of let my hair down, if you will, and got to enjoy it a heck of a lot more this year than previous years. So for me, it was just an awesome event. And we're definitely looking forward to next year. We don't have a set place or date set yet, but it will be back in Richmond, Virginia. And we're hoping to continue to grow.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like you will. Based off of the feedback based off of everybody that I've talked with, and kind of like to Kyle's point, when people are doing the right things for the right reasons, people are naturally going to gravitate towards it. And when there's all this positivity and growth and excitement there, you can't help but grow. And everybody steps up. Like everybody else is kind of leveling each other up, which is such a cool thing. I mean, I've been participating in this with you guys for the last, I think this is our 3rd year now. And it's so neat to see even just 3 years ago to where it is now. I mean, like exponential growth is, like you were saying, Josh, it tells the results of the efforts that are being put into it and the heart behind all of you guys that are putting yourselves into all of this. So just as somebody in the industry, super grateful for people like you doing this for the industry, because it helps so many. It helps every level, our vendors, our shops, the techs, all levels. So it's really exciting. So mark your calendars, folks. It's always around May-ish. And next year's Richmond, Virginia. So get ready to be there, because there's going to be another influx, which I'm sure the team's already like, oh boy. I know how it is when you do an event. Like it ends, you're like, yay, next year. What are we doing for next year? Like immediately.
We were planning next year before we finished planning this year.
Oh, wow.
And it's, and really this is the 4th one, because before COVID, there was a Southeast Collision.
Yeah, it's true.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's exciting.
In South Carolina. Yeah.
Yeah, it was in North Carolina.
Oh, yeah.
It was in Concord.
It was in
Concord. We had a little booth, and you could have fit all the vendors in the entranceway of this year's show. And that tells you how much this show has grown. The classrooms had room for like 15 people in them. So I couldn't count chairs, but the classrooms this year were huge and they were packed. So
there were, I think 300 chairs in each classroom.
Wow.
So it's how much this has evolved in 4 shows with COVID in the middle.
It's pretty incredible. And I go back to when we started the CCA originally, and it was a different name, NCACAR. It was North Carolina, and then we combined. But, Jordan, I remember calling her on the phone. It's like, what do we do? How do I do this? And it's, we didn't have to reinvent the wheel. She's like, okay, LLC this, and this, and kind of guided us in the beginning to where it made things easier. And I think one thought that I would say, everybody made it great, but we uniquely, because of the way I think all the board members and the members give back to other shops, we get synergy because we're willing to help. I give my cell phone number out all the time, and I know Kyle does and Josh does. And, when somebody needs some help, they know that they can call and we're going to answer the phone. And I think all the board members that are in North and South Carolina, they're shop owners too. And they give back a lot of their time. And that synergy that we have in North and South Carolina, I think is in building in Richmond as we grow that relationship. It's unique because the members really help each other, and it's not a competitive thing. Which I know that's hard to do, I think, in the collision industry. My friend Berlin, Burl Richards and at ABAT, and they've been able to do the same thing in Texas. And I think it's a unique thing to be able to have competitive businesses in the same room to each other and truly help. I think that's unusual. And I'm grateful for that and everybody that gets involved in this. Kyle's grown and we've all grown into this, really giving back to the shops is, I think, what makes it really unique and genuine.
Yeah. And fulfilling. Yeah. So cool. Well, anything else anybody wants to say before we head off for today besides make it next year?
We'll see you there.
I don't know if any of us thanked you, but thank you for all of us and for continuing to do this. And hopefully it's been enjoyable for you.
Thank you. Yeah.
I
always have a great time.
We started out a little slow, but I think we perked it up, didn't we?
Yeah.
You did. Good job.
Yeah.
And just to set the record straight, Mickey Woods is going to be in person in Richmond, Virginia next year on the trade show floor. So
Nice.
be
Sure.
excited.
Yeah,
There
that'll
we
be-
go.
Look forward to it.
You heard it here first, folks. Meet me there. We're going to
Sounds
be there
good.
together. I love it. Well, thank you guys so much again for putting on such an incredible show and just being the people that you are. I'm really proud to call you guys friends, and to see all the work that you're doing in the industry is just such a cool thing to sit in my chair and watch virtually. But next year I'll be watching it in person. And then also want to thank all of the vendors and all of the sponsors that you guys had at the Southeast Collision Conference, because you had a lot of sponsors, you had a lot of our vendors participating that helps the show. I mean, it all is like symbiotic, right? Everybody needs everybody to make it happen. And then also Lombard was a sponsor of the show, but also sponsor of this series of the podcast. And love those guys. They're awesome. And for anybody listening that needs any new or refurbished equipment, they're the guys to go to. They're actually offering a really good special. They've got this new, what they call a frame machine, but I call it the Swiss Army knives, a frame machine. This thing's so awesome. The Bronco. I don't know if you guys saw it there. I'm sure you saw it on the trade show floor. And they said they've got some amazing factory pricing right now through the end of June that the factory is offering. And then for everyone that's sold, if you call them and mention the Body Banging Podcast, they're giving a free air jack, which is worth $1,000 for everybody that mentions the Body Banging Podcast. So if you're interested in that, something you want to take advantage of, you can save tens of thousands of dollars with all the specials and then the air jack added on top of it. Like, take advantage. So thank you, Lombard Equipment. Their information is in the show notes. And thank you guys again for taking your time today to come and chat with us about this amazing conference. Good job, all of you guys.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Mickey.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.
If you enjoyed today's show, make sure you hit the subscribe button. We have some incredible topics and guests coming your way you will not want to miss. If you are watching on YouTube and don't want to miss the latest and greatest, you'll want to hit the bell after subscribing, so you will get a pop-up each time a video podcast goes live. To our devoted fans, would you mind paying it forward and sharing this little gem with someone else you think may benefit from it? Much love from all of us here at Body Bangin', all things auto body.